Right, Mrs. Gale, are you ready for the next lesson? Wait, what is this? Mrs. Gale, why is there a banana peel on the floor?
King Louis.
Definitely not King Louis, he's got his own banana there. What are you trying to do with that?
I was trying to trip you up.
Are you being serious? You're trying to trip me up with a banana peel?
I didn't think it would work. It's not worked.
It definitely hasn't worked. Thank you, Mrs. Gale. Shall we get on?
Yeah, let's do it.
Hi, boys and girls. Mrs. Gale. Mrs. Gale! What are you doing? Right, boys and girls. Hi, welcome back, and hopefully you're healthy, happy, and safe at home, and you're carrying on with the learning. Let's carry on with some more English today. So,
Yay!
Was that a yay? Yay! Yay! So last session we started looking at determiners, and what did we look at, Mrs. Gale?
We looked at articles. I do remember that with a, an, and the.
Or as I like to say, the, a, an. Either way, it doesn't matter. So remember, a determiner always, what is it?
Always.
It's used before a noun. So a noun is a person, place, or thing. Apart from abstract nouns, that's a feeling. And often emphasise a noun in the sentence. So Mrs. Gale is absolutely right. We looked at articles last time. So the, a, an. Go on, Mrs. Gale.
The, a, an.
Do you remember the other three?
Yes, there was
Confident.
quantifiers, possessive, and demonstrative.
Brilliant. You used to work backwards. So we've got quantifiers, possessive, and demonstrative. So we are going to be looking at demonstrative determiners today. So demonstrative determiners, what are they, Mrs. Gale?
Well, there's four different types. You've got this, that, those, and these. And these determiners are used to show the distance or relationship between two nouns. Remember, a noun is a person, place, or thing. Okay?
A person, place, or thing. So I quite like demonstrative determiners because number one, they all begin with a T. That's number one.
Yes.
And number two, there's a nice little thing I do with my class where I just get them to say it really quickly and they quite enjoy it. So I would like you to repeat after me. This, Mrs. Gale,
This,
that,
those,
these.
these.
And then we try and say it as fast as we can. So I'm going to do it first. This, that, those, these.
This, that, those, these.
Shall we say it together? Ready? Three,
two.
get on the screen. 3, 2, 1. This, that, those, these. And we try and say it together really, really fast. So we've got the following sentences. We've got, these men were scarred from the battle. This victory belonged to King Duncan. Those witches made a prediction on the heath. And last one, Mrs. Gale.
That letter was sent to Lady Macbeth.
Okay. So those are all examples of the use of demonstrative determiners. And they are used to show a relationship between two nouns. So we know that the men, that's in relation to the battle in the sentence. Mm-hmm. So the victory, that's in relation to King Duncan, so it's related, and vice versa. Right, so to pause the video here, and can you identify the demonstrative determiner in each sentence, in each of the sentences below? So there is one in each sentence, and if you find an article, try and identify the article as well. Why not? Right, so pause the video, have a go. Right, Mrs. Gale, are you ready?
That.
Good, second sentence.
These.
Thank you.
If you wanted the article in there as well, it was the.
I didn't ask for it.
Oh, she did ask for it earlier, didn't
Yeah,
she
not
say?
from you though.
Oh,
Not from
gee.
you. Number 3.
These.
Yep.
That.
Yep.
Those.
Thank you. And so remember, this, that, those, these. Say it, Mrs. Gale.
This, that, those, these.
Now say it with conviction, looking at the camera.
This, that, those, these.
Good. Right, so today we are going to carry on with our unit of work on Macbeth, and the LO is the following. LO. To identify and use colons to mark boundaries. Now, just like semicolons, colons serve two purposes. They can either mark boundaries. What did you say boundaries were, Mrs. Gale, last time?
So there are two main clauses.
Good. Or they can be used to introduce a list. So there are two purposes for colons. So we watched this clip, or you watched this clip last session. If you need to re-watch it again, that's absolutely fine. And then we're going to talk about the main events in this particular clip. Before we do, make sure you pause the video and have a think to yourself, what were the main events? Right, Mrs. Gale, the main events. So number 1, the witch's first prophecy comes true. He is a Thane of Cawdor, so he owns Cawdor. Number 2, Mrs. Gale.
The King Duncan's son, Malcolm, is proclaimed to become the heir to the throne. King Duncan travels to Macbeth's castle to celebrate. So the heir to the throne means there's the next person going to be king or
so
queen.
in line. And then number 3, Lady Macbeth reads Macbeth's letter and she begins to plot a plan. So we know in the letter Macbeth writes to Lady Macbeth saying that we've met these 3 witches. The first prophecy has come true. They also mention that I'm going to become the king of Scotland, or the king, and then Lady Macbeth really wants that to happen. So she's plotting or scheming a plan. Right, what we'd like you to do in a moment is listen to us, and then you'll be watching another video later on. Sorry, I haven't even looked through these slides myself. We thought it would be a bit of a surprise.
Oh, great.
Right. Fun. So what are colons used for? As mentioned before, they have 2 purposes. So Mrs. Gale, can you read this one? Oh, sorry.
So colons are used to introduce a list, and this is quite easy actually. This one you would have done this in year 5 possibly. So the slaves cooked all evening
For the banquet.
The slaves cooked all evening for the banquet and prepared, succulent meats, roasted potatoes and delicious pies. And we've got it there to introduce a list. And our list was succulent meats, roasted potatoes and delicious pies. So that was just quite clearly just about a list.
Okay, so the second one which we're going to focus on during the session is to mark boundaries. So as Mrs. Gale said, to join 2 clauses together, main clauses together. So have a look. They can also be used to join clauses, often after a statement, so that it can be explained. So here we've got Macbeth was puzzled, or why was he puzzled? That's my statement. The witch's first premonition came true. Premonition just means prediction or prophecy.
Now, I'm just going to add something in here.
Are you going to talk about a conjunction? Because I'm going to talk about it in the next slide.
Oh, fine. I'll just ignore it. That's why we need to look at the
Stop
slides
talking.
first.
Right, so colons to mark boundaries is exactly what Mrs. Gale was going to say. So Mrs. Gale, I'll let you talk about it.
So a great way to use colons to mark boundary is to use them to replace the conjunction because. And think about reading comprehension. When we ask you to explain something, we ask you to use the conjunction because. And it's the same with the colons. Because they're explaining the previous statement, you can replace it with a conjunction because.
Do you want to say because anymore?
Because. When you use the conjunction because, you are often explaining a statement. So I can imagine here. Let's have a look at this example. I'm just going to lead on.
So we've got the statement here, and then we've got the explanation in green. So I've just colour coded it. So Mrs. Gale, do you want to read the first one?
So the statement is King Duncan rode to the castle, he wanted to celebrate the victory with Macbeth.
So if you think about the colon, so why did he ride to the castle? Well, because he wanted to celebrate the victory with Macbeth.
And exactly what Miss Mia did there is she just took out the colon and replaced it with the conjunction because. King Duncan rode to the castle because he wanted to celebrate the victory with Macbeth. That works. That's an accurate way of using it.
And we've also got 2 main clauses there. So King Duncan rode to the castle. That's the main clause. Makes sense on its own. It's got a subject and a verb. And the second, he wanted to celebrate the victory with Macbeth. Again, another main clause. Right, number 2. Lady Macbeth devised a cunning plan. That means she thought of a cunning plan. So that's your statement. Well, why did she do it? Because she wanted her husband to be the new king of Scotland. And then number 3, Mrs. Go.
Macbeth was confused. So why was he confused? He didn't want to kill his beloved king.
Okay, so we can use because to replace that colon. Okay. So what conjunction can we use, Mrs. Gale? Because! Right, because we can. Let's move on. So hopefully you understand that, and that's quite a straightforward concept to understand. So remember, you use the colon to explain a statement, and it often replaces a conjunction because. Right, so where should the colon go? So a nice little activity for you here. I'm going to read you all the sentences, and then you need to decide where the colon should go in each of these sentences. So remember, you're looking for the statement, and where would you put that because? So where would the because go in the sentence? And that's where your colon would go. So I'll read the first one, then Mrs. Gale will take it in turns. Number 1, Lady Macbeth convinced Macbeth to kill the king. She wanted her husband to rule Scotland.
Number 2, King Duncan had guards accompany him to the castle. He wanted to ensure that he was safe during his fleeting visit.
And number 3, Macbeth smiled and filled the banqueting hall with merriment. He did not want the guests to be suspicious of his future actions. So pause the video here and have a go yourself. Where would the colon go? Right? Miss Gale, are you ready?
Yeah.
First one, where would it go?
Okay, Lady Macbeth convinced Macbeth to kill the king because she wanted her husband to rule Scotland. So it goes here.
It's an interesting way of writing your colons, Mrs. Gale. Drag the colon. There. Okay, number 2. King Duncan had guards accompany him to the castle. Because, why, Mrs. Gale?
He wanted to ensure that he was safe during his fleeting visit.
Isn't that much better?
Yeah, it is actually much better, yeah.
And then lastly, Macbeth smiled. Smiled? That's not how you spell smiled,
No,
is it?
no,
Smilled.
it's not. Smilled.
Macbeth smiled and filled the banqueting hall with merriment. He did not want the guests to be suspicious of future actions. So where would it go?
That. Oh.
Yeah, take it.
Oh, okay. It would go because he did not want the guest to be suspicious of his future actions.
And just to say now, boys and girls, as we're filming these lessons and we put these lessons together, there might be little marvellous mistakes, and that's okay. Because we'll always self-correct, won't we, Mrs.
Yes,
Gale?
we will.
We're not
Yeah, we will.
perfect, but we're doing it just for you guys. Right. We've got two past stats questions related to colons. I'm just going to bring the screen closer so you can see it, so the camera closer. I'm going to read it to you and then we'll go through the answers. So question number 1 says the following.
Tick one box to show the correct place for a colon in the sentence below.
For a what?
A colon.
Colon.
Colon. And the sentence is, Tom needed to think carefully about his homework. It looked very difficult. So which box would that colon go into, and tick one of those?
Okay, so pause the video here and have a go. Right, Mrs. Gale, where would it go?
So the colon would go, let's just go here. Tom needed to think carefully about his homework. Well, why? Because it looked very difficult. So the colon would go here.
And if you think about it, if you put Tom needed because to think carefully, that wouldn't make sense, so it wouldn't be that. Tom needed to think carefully because about his homework, that wouldn't make sense. If you think about it here, Tom needs to think carefully about his homework. It looked because very difficult, doesn't make sense. So actually, you could use the process of elimination. Right, and the last question then. Miss Gale, if you read it.
Okay, so the question is as follows. Insert a colon in the correct place in the sentence below. So there's one sentence here. Joshua had mastered 2 new skateboarding skills. He could do a perfect aerial jump and execute a complete 180-degree turn.
Pause the video here. And then Miss Gale, where would it go?
So Joshua had mastered 2 new skateboarding skills. Well, those 2 skateboarding skills are as follows. Colon. He could do the perfect aerial jump and execute a complete 180-degree turn. So it's a bit of a trickier one there because it's not commas for a list. You can't see the commas for a list for it, but it's just two things within the list.
Let's put you guys back down. Hopefully you found that relatively okay. And let's move on. So what we'd like you to do now is the following. So this is the next episode in the sequence of... Thanks. So this is the next episode in the sequence of the Macbeth animation series from the BBC. Like before, this will be up on the website. These slides will be up on the website. You just click on the link and it will bring you up to this particular... I'll just show you. It will bring you up to this particular link. So you can actually just watch it, okay? So pause the video here. Have a watch of the video. It's called Daggers for the King. So have a watch and just think about what might be happening. You can maybe infer a lot from watching or looking, at this picture itself.
Yeah.
So, what are the main points then in this particular video? Let's have a look. So we know that number 1, King Duncan and guests are enjoying the feast in the banqueting hall and Dunsinane. So that's Macbeth's castle. That's where he stays with Lady Macbeth.
And the second part here is Lady Macbeth convinces Macbeth to kill King Duncan. She's a really powerful force and completely convinces him.
She's got into his head. And he was really unsure about it because he's been such a loyal servant to King Duncan and he's fought his battles and so on. And to then now turn around and kill him, it just seemed rather perplexing for him. And then number 3, Macbeth kills King Duncan and Lady Macbeth leaves the daggers at the crime scene. So he actually commits the atrocious sin of murdering King Duncan, and then Lady Macbeth has to clear up after her husband's actions. Okay.
Yeah, and leaves those daggers.
Yeah, leaves it, and you can see the red, the blood-stained hands and so on. And you can see that he's still not sure about what happened and why he did what he did. So, your work today is the following. So you're going to use everything that we've learnt and you're going to apply it to your learning today. So I'm just going to go through the bronze, silver, gold with you. So the bronze is put a colon in the correct place to mark the boundaries. So look for where that conjunction because would go and then put the colon there. So you've got 4 sentences in total for bronze. For silver, Mrs. Gale?
Finish off each sentence by using a colon to explain the statement. You can up-level the sentences. So number 1, Macbeth could not concentrate on the feast celebrating the victory because, colon, explain why.
And when I say up-level the sentences, that just means using a range of narrative techniques. So it could be different sentence openers, it could be using parentheses, it could be using passive voice and so on. So that's silver, so actually adding that explanation after the statement and trying to up-level it if you can. And then gold is the following. So write a short diary entry from Macbeth's perspective. So you're writing as if you're Macbeth, describing the movements and the moment he committed the murder. Explain what happened after the event took place. You must include at least 3 examples of colons to mark boundaries. Now, this is just for you to practice the use of colons. Obviously, when you're writing, whether it be a big write, whatever it may be, you are not prescribed to use a set amount of colons. It's just today, it's just to see if you can use it in the correct places. Okay, so let me read it to you. Let's see how this reads. Dear diary, my mind is a battlefield, each thought wounding me, hurting me, feeding my guilt. May. That's pretty good. Just by the way, I wrote this all myself. You see, I've just killed King Duncan because I wanted to become King of Scotland and be the most powerful person. You must believe me. I did have reservations about this whole plan because King Duncan has always treated me well, has been a good companion of mine, and it was my duty to protect him, just like I have been doing over the years. Okay, so I'm sure Mrs. Gale, what are you about to do?
No, I'm just going to say here, you can see that Miss Smith used 2 examples. Remember, you need to use 3 examples. She's got one here, and she's got one here.
And I've used other narrative techniques as well, so I've got commas in the list. So here, I've created a list. I've also got my mind as a battlefield, so some
great metaphors
there. And again, I've got commas in the list here, and it's very emotive as well. And using conjunction, exclamation mark, and then actually in a diary you address your diary, so you're talking to the diary as if it's a person. So actually saying you must believe me is quite strong in itself. So for gold, it's just actually harnessing your writing and actually using colons, but other techniques as well. So hopefully, boys and girls, you have enjoyed that short little clip, and you're really enjoying Macbeth at the moment. Take care.
Yeah.
And see you all soon.
Stay
Bye.
safe. Bye.